Also, it was interviewed by our own Pete Edge.
Brother Carl Cornwell on the tenor saxophone. Preceded by Brother Ron Holloway, Brother Vernon James. You know, we choose to start our shows by doing a little bit of this kind of music because every once in a while I have gone into record stores, lately at least, and found our music in a category called miscellaneous. Bothers the hell out of me, you know.
I've been playing piano and assorted percussion instruments now for about 20 years. And I used to play in one of the weekend bar bands. We were playing Knock on Wood and Get Ready or Don't Get Ready. And I think this is what finally got me into writing my own music. There were, from one song I would be too proud to brag, then the next one I wasn't too proud to brag. I never knew what the hell was going on. So I started to try to create some songs that would carve out an independent but consistent philosophy, because I feel as though that's a part of art. It shouldn't be so repressive that no ideas are allowed into music, which is the other extreme of what we do, I suppose.
Yeah. So where are you actually from?
I was born in Chicago, the home of the blues. Anybody who's ever been there knows why. I was raised in a town called Jackson, Tennessee, closer to the blues. We listened to John Lee Hooker and Jimmy Reed and Jimmy Witherspoon. And of course, that's where I got this tone of voice. And
so in defiance of all the trends, we refer to our music as midnight music. Call it the first minute of a new day. Say that we badly need some first day music. Say that we badly need some new ideas and some new things for our music. So what we would like you to do is relax, of course, and enjoy yourself and ask yourself this question about the music. The question that we'd like to have you handle is all of this music and all of these rhythms and all of the things that they do for it become a certain song of music. The question is that jazz? Like, take it in. What y'all say? Basie was never really commonplace. He was always measures ahead. And Ellington was more than #1 for the music and things that he said. Bird was the word back when tenors was heard from Kansas right up to the press. Lester Young. Billy was really the queen of a scene that keeps echoing on in my head. What it has will surely last, but is that jazz? Sometimes we would rather refer to it as finger-popping music, located under the Aqua Lounge on West 52nd Street in Philly, or a place called Slugs, Lower East Side. Miles has a style that amazes and raises the spirits from deep in your soul. Train struck a vein, laughter and pain, adventures the mind could explore. Stevie and Bob talk of freedom and jobs on an individual way. Playing and singing as long as it's bringing a message in all that it says. What it has will surely last, but is that jazz? They gave me that. Turn the corner here. We overanalyze, we've let others define 1,000 precious feelings from our past. When we express love and tenderness, is that jazz, is that jazz, is that jazz, is that jazz?
Reagan was reading from a cue card. And even though there are shots from behind him and you never see who's holding the card, you have this feeling all the time that he's reading these things and not saying them. There's not a great deal of feeling that he believes these things that he's saying. We don't know who believes them, but we don't think he does. And we said perhaps Bush was writing the script, but he hasn't, in other ways, proven that he has the intelligence to write a script as complicated as this one. So it still seems as though Reagan must be acting, though, acting like he believes that.
Yeah. What about the situation now? I mean, do you feel it's like changed?
Oh, there's a whiff of war in the air, you know, which we're trying to smother. You know, there's this whole I can out-macho you type of vibe. What do you mean you can build a big bomb? I can build a bigger bomb. While people need food, they need clothing, they need to have some of these social programs that have been taken away put back.
One thing we don't have any experience of is the ghetto. I think
right, well,
like
people back in America, they don't know nothing about the ghetto unless they live there. When people think about Washington, D.C., do they think about around my way? Or do they think about round about the White House? I'm saying they say live from Washington, D.C., and then they bring you some dead son, bitch, you ain't even from there, you know? And he's representing some other area or state or jurisdiction, and he's talking about what's going on, and when people think about Washington, D.C., that's what they think about. So we want everyone to feel as though in some fashion or other, they can influence what's going on. They can have something to say about how their life should be and how life should be. Whether they want it with or without nuclear weapons, whether they want it with or without peace between black people and white people. They have something to say about that. The only ones we hear from are the ones who have the most irritating voices, the most didactic things to say. We need to have people there who are saying what people feel in general. Why are 99% of people not criminals instead of our continuing to magnify this 1% that is? So consequently, we're trying to say that nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something, and if it's going to take as long to get straight as it did to get crooked, let's get going.
Brother Robert Gordon on the bass. You got to have some bottom for the music. Makes the top make sense. Gives meaning to the sides. Is that jazz? Dizzy's been busy while Rover gets us over with notes that go straight to the heart. And Brother Ron gets it on, bass line so strong. Sounds seem to glow in the dark. I take pride in what's mine. Is that really a crime when you know I ain't got nothing else? Only millions of sounds pick me up when I'm down. Let me salvage a piece of myself. What it has will surely last, but is that jazz? What it has will surely last, but is that jazz? What it has will surely last, but is that jazz? What it has will surely last, but is that jazz?
Do you feel at all that, I mean, in black music today, that there is a lack of, like, some of the real soul that made it really special in the 60s?
I can't tell who's singing. That's what really bothers me, is that I don't know who it is. What I like about music and the kind of music that I like is the kind that, like, hey, 20 seconds into the tune, you know who this artist is because there's something unique about him or her. That's why they put this record on.
Yeah.
Not because it sounded like this one or it fit comfortably between commercials, but because there's really something worthwhile here.
Yeah.
And I'm saying when one turns to the other, which turns to the other one, which turns into and around and in on itself again, I'm just not happy. I hope those people are who are playing that stuff. But I really like individual music, and it doesn't matter like where it's coming from. Okay, George Bernard Shaw goes to this party with these very bourgeois people, and of course he's sort of bohemian before they had a word for it. And so this very stuffy woman comes over and says, "Oh, Mr. Shaw, are you enjoying yourself?" He says, "Yes, damn it, but that's all." This is a rather pregnant-looking 7-Up.
Americans have got a reputation, if you don't mind me saying, in certain English circles for being insincere, and that's where you seem to differ in the...
Well, that's what we were saying about the mass production.
That's right.
You know, it don't have no substance, so you can produce a lot of them very quickly, but they just as quickly lose their flavor. You know, just as quickly as something is #1 this week, you never heard of the people who did it next week because there was no substance there.
That's right.
It was disco duck. It was 1 in a million. It was not to be heard from again. It was damn glad to see you go and wonder how you got here. It was, it was all those things.
That was the thing about, you know, the song The Message, Grandmaster Flash.
Right, and what was the message?
Hi, folks.